users. Trace here for D-News. Thanks for watching, and check this out! New set, it's awesome. I had a roommate in college whose alarm went off at 7:15 for his 8 a.m. class. The radio, as loud as the volume would go. He didn't even flinch or wake up, but I almost hit the ceiling, it scared me so much. We've done lots of videos on sleep. We even actually have a sleep playlist you can check out. But waking up, some days I just don't want to get up. Social jet lag, or the idea that we...
Hey, what's up? Welcome to y'all summer school session. I'm your host, Dan F. Man. It's good to be in here again today on another episode of Expansion Pack. I hope y'all like the new set that we got back here. I got my engineer back here on the ones and twos with his work clothes on. Say what's up, Dan. Raise your hand up or something. Hey, that's my man. They still didn't see it, but all right, yeah, we in here today. So today we talking about resetting. Hold on, let me see. Send me a request. Stacy Tarpley, gotcha. I got you. Let me see. Stacy. So we gonna get y'all motivation in here real quick. First and foremost. Then we're gonna go from there. All right, let's go. Motivation for my mans and them out there. Motivation for men. All right, here we go. Men's diet. Don't ask me why I want to put that in there. I knew it would be nothing but shorts. Alright, cool. Let me see. We're going to play a bit of one.
Hitting your goals has nothing to do with distance. The real culprit is friction, and it slowly erodes your progress. Unlike what most people believe,
Dan, send me a chat so I can test.
That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that. And it became personal with me.
For me, anger was good. Anger was good because it was motivating. The more I could...
Hey, what's good, Chris? Welcome to summer school, bruh.
I've been listening to them live my whole career. An Irishman win a fight in the UFC? Hell no. Laughs all around. Hell no, he's all talk. He's all like, this is a joke. The sound of laughter.
I'm not seeing your chats for some reason.
Motivates me.
I saw you celebrate my losses like I wasn't gonna win again.
You gotta want to be successful so bad that you forget to eat. That's how bad you gotta want it. I'm just wondering if you are bold enough, daring enough, if you can believe in your dream again, if you can get committed, if you can make it personal. It's personal.
Because it's about you.
It's personal. 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 It's personal.
Once I talked to Cuss, and Cuss talked to me over and over again, over and over again, every night for hours and hours. I just never had to worry about nobody ever bullying me again. Because I know I would kill them if they with me.
You've got to create a lot of different emotion to heighten your sense of awareness and focus.
It's about you ultimately actively moving through your emotions rather than being stopped by them towards a goal.
I think when change hits and it's personal, that's when the perspective shift comes.
Get into something that's really personal, that means something to you. I think that's the key to what we do. It's gotta be personal.
It's up to you to carry on.
Hey, what's up, Stacy?
Remember, you owe you something.
Hey, we just gonna do it over here now.
Believe that. We all have desires and dreams. Make your dream a reality.
I'm talking concrete commitment. The commitment that says, can I stay true to what I said I would do long after the mood that I've set it in has left? See, when you get personal, when you make it personal, everything changes.
don't make it personal. What a joke. It has been personal. When week after week, I'm choked up, fighting back tears with every sentence. It's personal. I have waited my whole life. I will wait no more.
That's why they say many are called, few are chosen.
Ooh.
It's about.
Can you hear the message?
It's about you having a vision, a possibility for yourself that has to do with being great.
Because I'm gonna make it personal. Because it's always been personal.
To me.
Right. To me.
So
Let's go, y'all. So we ain't gonna go no further than that. We're gonna keep it right there. Alright, hold on. I gotta get all of my chats up. Alright, there we go. Alright, Dan, I got you pulled up. Hey, I see you down there. Hey, Dan. Over there at DGTA. Alright, so we just talking about resetting. So first we're going to figure out what we need to do when we wake up as far as hydration. Hydration for the day. How do you hydrate in the day? Let me see, in the best ways. The best way to stay hydrated. Oh, not water. Let me see.
These can be a variety of different fluids. How much fluid should you be drinking in a day? In this video, I'm going to show you how to optimally hydrate your body so that you can perform best in everything you're doing in your life. Taking your kids to school, jiu-jitsu, dancing, yoga, whatever. Let's get into how to optimally hydrate. So when you're thinking about hydration, we're talking about fluid first that you're taking in, and then electrolytes like salt second. So I'm going to cover both of those in this video. I'm going to talk about different types of fluid, different body types, different temperatures you might be in, how to calculate how much water or other fluids you should be drinking when you're exercising, and how to think about how much salt and other electrolytes you should be taking in during the day. So first things first, let's talk about fluid. So when you're drinking fluids throughout the day, these can be a variety of different fluids. But let's just start with water. Now, somewhat surprisingly, your body size doesn't matter a whole lot here. Most humans, regardless of body size, give or take, need about 2.3 liters of water per day. That's about 77 ounces of
what is that? Bring it
fluid
down.
or water. I'm going to show you. There are different ways you can do this. It doesn't have to be just water, but let me show you what 77 ounces
like.
or 2.3 liters of fluid looks like. It looks like this. So this is what 77 ounces, 2.3 liters
Got
of
it. I definitely
water
ain't been
looks
getting
like.
that
So it's
every
about
day.
10 glasses of water, about 10 8-ounce glasses of water. A little less than 10, but you get the idea. Now, if you're looking at this, you might think that's a lot of water, and it really is, because you can think about the amount of fluid you get in a day based on all of the fluid you get in a day, as long as that fluid is hydrating. And I'll talk about that in just one moment. But you could have a couple of different types of fluids that might contribute to this 10 glasses of water, which is actually 10 glasses of fluid that is hydrating every day. The other thing to think about is that this is the amount of fluid that you should probably consume in the first 10 hours of the day after you wake up, because in those 10 hours, your kidneys are much better and much more active at filtering the fluid, and it will be much easier to pee that fluid out during the day, so you won't be left peeing multiple times a night. Now, it's pretty much normal for a human man or woman to get up maybe once a night to pee, but if you're getting up 3 times a night, 4 times a night to pee, that's a lot of interruption of your sleep, and you really want to aim to get the majority of your fluid in the first 10 hours of the day after you wake up. So if you wake up at 7 a.m., you want to get this amount of fluid from all the different sources I'll talk about before 5 p.m. And then after 5 p.m., you really want to try and limit it to about 5 to 8 ounces of water before you go to sleep. And that will almost certainly help with nighttime urination. You'll get up less during the night, less sleep interruptions. Better quality sleep equals better quality life. You don't have to drink 10 glasses of
when we think about our diet, right, we just think, oh, drink water, right? But we get a lot of stuff pressing upon us about gut health and, you know, eating right and all of that stuff and exercising. But then what about the fluids? Because if you're drinking bottles of water and you're keeping it consistent on what type of bottled water you're drinking, then you might can get a good picture of what it is that is going into your body as far as fluid. Now, if you like me and you kind of just drinking when you feel thirsty, it's not really helping you as far as gathering all that you can, all the information you can about your gut health. So I ain't even thought about just sitting and looking at a video on what to drink as opposed to just making sure hydration.
Water. You could also drink things like orange juice or milk. These are both hydrating. And in fact, according to many studies like this one, milk and orange juice are even more hydrating than water. So in a given day, I do not drink this much water. I drink fluids based on my activity level, and I'm drinking milk, I'm drinking watermelon juice when I'm in Costa Rica, and I'm drinking orange juice. And so in a given day, my intake of fluids might look very different. I'm still getting around 2.3 liters of total hydrating fluid in a day, but it might look more like this. You could also replace some of that water with milk. Milk is hydrating. In fact, there are studies that suggest that...
Say that again. I don't know. So he said, so we would have to see how many ounces come in a bottle of water. And then we would have to see how many he said. I think he said 77 ounces. And he said you should drink everything that you can before 5 p.m. You see what I'm saying? You should get all that fluid in before 5 p.m. And so that after 5 p.m. you ain't got to...
Milk is even more hydrating than water. So in
he also said milk is even more hydrating than water. And orange juice. I don't know.
About a liter of raw milk, which looks like this. But you could also...
Milk what? Right.
So make your hydration look like this. You could also replace some of that water in the day with something like fresh squeezed orange juice, which is also more hydrating than water. So this is more like what my fluid hydration might look like in a day. I'm still getting 2.3 liters of fluid. Part of that fluid is raw milk, part of that fluid is fresh squeezed orange juice, and part of that fluid is a filtered water. I'm definitely not drinking tap water full of fluoride, pesticides, pharmaceuticals, and chlorine derivatives. Please filter your water as well. The last two things to think about with your hydration every day is that this amount of fluid every day will increase if you are exercising, and you want to pair this amount of fluid with electrolytes like salt. Average for most people is around 9 grams of salt. Please look for a low heavy metal sea salt. Add that to your food throughout the day. Pairing that amount of salt with this amount of fluid will lead to pretty darn optimal hydration.
So that's what I was waiting to hear about the salt. Let me hear that again.
And you want to pair this amount of fluid with electrolytes like salt. Average for most people is around 9 grams of salt. Please look for a low heavy metal sea salt. Add that to your food throughout the day. Pairing that amount of salt with this amount of fluid will lead to pretty darn optimal hydration for most people. So this is what a typical day of hydration might look like for me.
I'm a trip. Yeah, I can't wait to go back to Food Line. Oh my gosh. All right, here we go. So now we're going to listen to like a couple more seconds of this and then we're going to move forward.
I drink about a liter of raw milk per day. So I've got 4 glasses. Each of these is about 8 ounces. 8 ounces is around 230 milliliters. You guys get the idea. 4 glasses of milk is around a liter of milk. When I'm active, surfing every day, I'm going to drink about a liter of fresh squeezed orange juice every day too. So
I bet that orange juice be really would hit the spot. Like the water, you see you got the water mixed in there, but that orange juice is going to send a straight of, you know what I'm saying, all the things you need into your body. Into your body, Jack. All right, so let's keep on pushing forward. Now, resetting, you got to have your hydration, all right? Now, what else you do when you reset? What else you need to reset? We got rest, but rest come after the hydration and all of that. So, food, we're going to see good meal to help reset. Like, let's say you done worked out, you done did something that depleted everything that you got. How you going to reset? All right. I would watch shorts, but let's see this. No, we ain't doing that. We need words. We need words, girl. We need words. All right, anyway. This 357 right here.
Imagine this. A mild to moderate eczema treatment that targets inflammation.
You said it must be
right
thirsty.
Where you need it.
Nah,
without
I ain't
steroids.
Thirsty. But I just want stuff.
One single
I want to take
eat
stuff, drink stuff, do stuff that make me feel energized. And then when I'm finally depleted of energy, that should make me feel energized to go to sleep. And then once I go to sleep, I should wake up energized to do some more stuff. Not just be like this all the time. I might want to do it. I might not. That's whack. Who is living like? What is living like that? Even a snail is like, I'm gonna get there. The turtle, I'm gonna get there. And they moving. You know what I'm saying? They moving. Everybody is motivated. I don't think bored is a thing. I don't think uninteresting is a thing. I think you're just interested in something else as opposed to what you're doing at the current moment, time, whatever place. I'm going to go ahead and play the
Today's
video.
medical-centric topic is how to improve and reset gut health. Maintaining a healthy gut is crucial for overall well-being, as it plays a significant role in digestion, immunity, and even mood regulation. Here's how you can improve and reset your gut health naturally.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
1. Understanding gut health. Role of gut microbiome. Diverse ecosystem. The gut microbiome consists of trillions of bacteria and other microorganisms that aid digestion and nutrient absorption. Immune function. A healthy gut supports a strong immune system and helps fight off infections. 2. Signs of poor gut health. Digestive issues. Bloating and gas. Frequent bloating and gas can indicate imbalances in gut bacteria.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Constipation or diarrhea.
Look how they rubbing that stomach
Irregular
right there.
bowel
Makes you be
movements
like,
can be a sign of poor gut health. Other symptoms. Fatigue.
Fatigue is mine.
Persistent tiredness.
Mine is fatigue. So let me hear what this got to say. Please tell me something. Tell me something.
May be linked to gut issues affecting nutrient absorption. Food sensitivities. Increased sensitivities or
So mine is an absorption issue. Like, okay, my body is not absorbing what it needs to when it needs to.
Allergies can arise from gut imbalances. 3. Ways to improve and reset gut health. Balanced diet. Fiber-rich foods. Consume plenty of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes to support healthy digestion.
We gotta go stop and get some more of them right now.
Prebiotics and probiotics. Include foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and garlic to promote beneficial bacteria growth. Hydration. Drink plenty of water. Staying hydrated helps maintain a healthy digestive system and supports gut function. Engaging in regular exercise promotes healthy digestion and can positively affect the gut microbiome. Stress management. Reduce stress.
I need to get some of that too.
Practice relaxation techniques like meditation,
get on that meditation
yoga,
for
or
your
deep breathing
exercise.
exercises to lower stress levels and support gut health. Adequate sleep. Quality rest. Ensure 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep each night to allow the body and gut to recover and function optimally. 4. Foods to avoid for gut health. Processed foods. Limit processed and sugary foods. These can disrupt the balance of gut bacteria and contribute to inflammation. Artificial sweeteners. Avoid artificial additives. Certain
Yeah, you
sweeteners
hear that,
and
Dan? Do you hear that? Well, you probably ain't heard it yet, but you're going to hear it.
additives can negatively impact gut health.
The artificial sugar.
5. Supplements for gut health.
Supplements. What is a
Probiotic supplements. Enhance microbiome. Taking probiotics can help replenish and support beneficial bacteria in the gut.
The gut.
Digestive enzymes. Aid digestion. Enzyme supplements can
See, I ain't
assist in
gonna lie,
breaking
I
down.
don't like taking the supplements, but I feel that I've went so long with my body running one way, and it's been counter to the way it should be running, that I need the supplements to get it back on course, and then eventually I won't need the supplements because my body will produce it. But that's on another note, because I have to get it from the food as well, and I have to exercise more.
Food and improving nutrient absorption. 6. Long-term strategies for gut health. Consistent habits. Eating a diverse range of foods ensures a wide array of nutrients and supports a healthy microbiome. Mindful eating. Eat slowly.
Okay.
Practice
Daniel
mindful
need this
eating
one,
by
too.
chewing thoroughly and paying attention to hunger cues to aid digestion.
Yeah, you see it.
Thank you for watching our video.
You see it. Hey. All right. Right. You'd be like, I'm the same way, but then it's so good and I'm like, let me savor it, the smallest morsel. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, you gotta eat a good salad every now and then. Yep, you're right, son. You're right. Excuse you. All right, so now we got our hydration, we got our diet. So let's see how exercise can help you reset, because it has to be somehow, some way, or maybe resetting after exercise, or how does exercise help? Hey, Dr. Tracy looked like she might have it for us. Yeah, let's go.
Are you covered by one of these health insurance plans? You may be able to see a personal diet.
Did you know that just one workout can alter your brain chemistry within minutes and even protect your brain from the harmful effects of stress? This fascinating relationship between movement and mental well-being goes far deeper than most people realize. Today, I'll show you the science of how exercise transforms your brain and enhances your mental health. I'll also give you some practical tips on how to make it work for you. I'm Dr. Tracy Marks, a psychiatrist, and I make mental health education videos to strengthen your mind, fortify your brain, and build resilience. You've probably heard already that exercise is good for mental health, but understanding the how and the why can help motivate you to give it a higher priority, even when you don't feel like it. This video is the first in a series where we'll explore exercise impact on the brain health, and today we're focusing on the structural changes that occur in your brain when you exercise regularly. The reason exercise is such a big deal is it promotes neurogenesis, which is the growth of new brain cells.
That right there is enough for me. She said that it promotes the growth of new brain cells. I need them. That's enough for me.
Neurogenesis, which is the growth of new brain cells. This primarily happens in the hippocampus, the brain's memory and learning center. And this isn't theoretical. Researchers can actually see these changes using MRI scans, comparing brain images before and after implementing regular exercise routines. Research shows that regular aerobic exercise can increase hippocampal volume by up to 2% a year. And that might not sound like much, 2%, but in brain terms, it's significant. Huge. In fact, the study that I'll have referenced in the description went on to show that the 2% volume increase effectively reversed brain aging by 1 to 2 years. So what this means is through exercise, you're literally growing more brain tissue. The hippocampus is also sensitive to stress and tends to shrink over time, particularly if you're dealing with chronic stress or aging. Depression also reduces the size of your hippocampus. Exercise counteracts this by encouraging the production of new neurons, helping you keep your brain sharp and resilient. It's not just the hippocampus, though. Exercise also strengthens your prefrontal cortex, which you can think of as your brain's chief executive officer. This region handles executive functions like planning, decision-making, and emotional regulation. When you exercise regularly, this area becomes more developed and better connected to other brain regions. These improvements can help you better manage stress, maintain focus, and regulate your emotions more effectively. The changes in your prefrontal cortex help explain why exercise can improve your ability to concentrate and make better decisions. When this area is stronger and better connected, impulsivity is reduced. You're more likely to pause before reacting emotionally and think through consequences more clearly and maintain focus on important things despite distractions. Here's what's happening at the level of the cells. Exercise triggers the release of a protein called BDNF, brain-derived neurotropic factor. Think of BDNF as fertilizer for your brain. It helps existing neurons grow stronger connections and supports the birth of new brain cells, particularly in the hippocampus. BDNF levels increase significantly during and after exercise, creating an optimal environment for brain cell growth and connection. This process of growing new brain cells, called neurogenesis, was once thought impossible in adults, but we now know that this is not true.
And now it's proof that you can go out there and you can grow your brain back. Or you're literally growing your brain.
Exercise is one of the most powerful triggers for neurogenesis.
How you spell what? Loosened, Loosened, SENED. All right. I want to look into this. Hold up, y'all. We just found out a new word, neurogenesis. Eli, keep it down. We just found out a new word. 33 seconds.
Students with ADHD save 10 hours studying with this Chrome extension.
But no, by all means.
Hey, Stacy, I hope you're still out there. If you're still out there and I'm not seeing your comments, I don't know why. All right.
This right here is neurogenesis, the creation of new neurons or brain cells. It starts with a stem cell, which matures and proliferates into a neuron. This neuron gets integrated with other neurons, and the more you do this through physical exercise, the more you create more neurons, the more you can actually increase the size of your hippocampus. This is the memory center of your brain. So get out there and do whatever form of physical activity you enjoy most, not just to keep a fitter, healthier body, but also so that you can hold on to the memories that matter most to you.
That's, hey, that just, so hold on, I want to see one more. Top 5 ways to boost neurogenesis. Oh, my man's had it though. Hold on, let me give him a like.
This right here is neurogenesis, the creation of new neurons or brain cells.
As a matter of fact, let's go to Whole Brain Health Institute and see what else they got. Okay, they had nothing. At least nothing that I could see.
This right here is
immediate. Because when you get new brain cells, you may be able to remember more, and exercise help loosen muscles. Yes, it does. And I like to remember more, because imagine if I set up this routine where I'm exercising, I could be more focused and remember more of the things that I'm forgetting. That's motivation in itself. All right, so we're gonna listen to Dr. Brady. Dr. Brady Salcedo.
So I just recently got a chance to sit down with Brant Courtright in an episode of our podcast. You can find his in episode 2 of the podcast. But we got a chance to sit down and talk about what he calls the most important biomarker of your brain health, and that's what's called neurogenesis. And if you've never heard of neurogenesis before, neurogenesis is your brain's ability to produce new brain cells. And it turns out that our body's constantly producing new brain cells all the time. But a really interesting thing is actually 60% of those new brain cells that get formed actually get pruned off before they actually fully mature into fully developed brain cells. So one of the things we talk about on the podcast is different ways that you can actually boost your rate of neurogenesis so you can get more bang for your buck. So in this video, we're going to show you the top 5 ways to boost your rate of neurogenesis.
Let's go.
Now, one of the first ways that you can increase your rate of neurogenesis is through fasting. Now, I know fasting doesn't seem like the most ideal or even the most comfortable way to boost your brain power, but we've known for centuries, if not thousands of years, the benefits of fasting for our overall health, including improving our gut system, improving our immune system, reducing inflammation, and now we know, thanks to Dr. Mark Madsen out of Johns Hopkins University, that has some substantial benefits for our brain as well. And what Dr. Mark has discovered is that not only does fasting increase our rate of neurogenesis, it also helps boost the production of what we call
fasting?
BDNF. BDNF stands for brain-derived neurotrophic.
BDNF. Remember to start. Keep remembering these things, because this is the type of terminology that we need to be able to increase. or grow ourselves or to be better at anything we want to do with ourselves.
What BDNF does, it also boosts the production of the brain stem cells to mature brain cells, but also actually helps preserve the new brain cells that just formed. It keeps them from getting pruned off, which is really helpful. So you're kind of getting a double whammy with this in terms of you are increasing your rate of neurogenesis, but you're also increasing the BDNF, which keeps those new brain cells still there. But on top of all of that, the nice thing about fasting is it actually reduces your rate of inflammation. Now, we know for certain that inflammation is very, very detrimental to our cognitive and brain performance. So now also, by reducing your rate of inflammation, reducing the levels of inflammation in your body and in your brain, you're going to get an increased performance and increased production out of your brain. Now, the second way you can boost your rate of neurogenesis is through exercise. And exercise is something that I've had a lot of questions on in terms of how it affects the brain, what's the best type of exercise for your brain for quite some time. And so I've really been looking into this. And one of the interesting things that they found in a Harvard study is what they did is they looked at 3 different forms of exercise. They looked at resistance training, high intensity exercise training, and aerobic exercise. And what they found was actually really interesting. They found resistance training had virtually 0 effect on neurogenesis. But what they found was that high intensity had very minimal effects on neurogenesis, and aerobic activity had the most hands-down profound effect on neurogenesis. And they found that the longer the aerobic activity took place, the more benefits for neurogenesis there were. Now, I want to be very clear with this too. We're talking about specifically neurogenesis. So that doesn't mean you should avoid all other types of activity, and aerobic activity is where it's at. There are extreme benefits to high intensity exercise and resistance training and other forms of exercise, including yoga as well. So, for instance, high intensity exercise training can actually boost your rate of BDNF. So it's very important to have a constantly well-rounded fitness regimen. But in terms of neurogenesis, aerobic activity is where it's at.
All right. So, run. If you want to grow new brain cells, run. All right. Now, we done looked at neurogenesis enough. So, that is the fountain of youth right there. You can keep on learning, growing, and doing, well, feeling younger. Let's look at how to reset novelty factor. I think that should be right. All right, here we go.
Social media and some corners of the health industry advocate for dopamine detox or fasting, suggesting you can somehow reset your brain's dopamine systems to increase happiness. But dopamine's role is far more complex, but at the same time really fundamental. It's involved in a range of functions: motor control, learning, cognitive functions such as executive function, pain, sleep, emotional appraisal, impulse control, etc. Essentially, you can see what it helps us do is to be adaptive in life.
Okay.
Social media.
So let me see what that is. Dopamine detox. Let's see what this is talking about.
It's never been easier to start a podcast than with Riverside. Here's how it works. First,
what are your thoughts on dopamine detoxing? Is that legit? Does it work?
Well, up until about 6 months ago, I would have said no. But my colleague Anna Lemke wrote
She's
this
been on
book.
the show. Yeah, she's great.
Fantastic. I have such admiration and respect.
She's
for
great.
Anna. Yeah. Just a brief anecdote. I direct a neuroanatomy course for the medical students at Stanford. I should have known who Anna was, and then one day she came in to give a lecture on dopamine and addiction, and my first thought was, oh my goodness, have to get her on the podcast and I want her talking to the world because it's such powerful knowledge. So if people haven't heard that episode already, go listen to Chris talking to Dr. Anna Lemke. I'm going to listen to it. I've listened to all her podcasts that I was aware of, but again, we were talking about it's sometimes hard to find podcasts, so I'm going to listen to that. Cannot listen to her enough times. The dopamine. You asked earlier about the arc of dopamine and how long it lasts. One of the key takeaways from that book, Dopamine Nation, that I've incorporated in my own life is that there are certain activities like cold water that create long-lasting arcs of dopamine. Those can be very useful for putting us into long-lasting motivational states. So these are not big peaks and troughs. These are the pain of the cold water followed by this long arc of dopamine. Wonderful. It's kind of an antidepressant, positive motivator.
So I'm going to go swimming today because I know that pain of me getting in that water.
Natural stimulus. I always say if you don't have access to an ice bath, cold showers, yes, will work. If you have a shower that doesn't get cold enough, keep in mind that the original studies showing this dopamine increase had people get into 60-degree water, which is not that cold, 60-degree Fahrenheit, for 45 minutes to an hour. So your water bill might go up, but you could just draw a kind of cool bath and get in that up to the neck. So, because I realize there are sometimes some cost barriers.
Some things that I'm hearing, there's some things in here that I'm hearing people try to make themselves, to help themselves. And it is stuff that I wouldn't even try and didn't even want to try until now I'm sitting down looking at this.
Not everyone has an ice bath. No.
Dopamine detoxing.
Yeah. So dopamine detoxing is something that apparently today my short-term working memory is off. I swear I can't.
Well, yerba mate, get that in you.
I can't think of any. I'm caffeinated. I can't think of any pharmacologic reason for it, but no excuses. So dopamine detox, I would have thought was not something real. It seemed kind of silly to me, actually. And I'll tell you why it seems silly and why it still seems silly, but why it may have some utility. But then Dr. Anna Lemke told me that it actually can be quite useful to take some time and space away from social media, certainly from any addictive drugs. That's the treatment for addiction, and restore those dopamine levels to baseline. Now, the way that dopamine detoxing was initially described in the Bay Area, where it seemed a lot of tech types were talking about it, was in terms of, I heard something like, people aren't even looking at other people's faces. They're really kind of living this like monkish lifestyle, like no food that they really enjoy, no anything. That to me seems kind of crazy and kind of extreme. I mean, I can understand not ingesting a lot of highly palatable foods, eating some blander foods. I can understand certainly not doing any prescription drugs or taking some time off from caffeine. Caffeine increases dopamine receptors, which makes the dopamine that's available more powerful at evoking the dopamine response. I can understand avoiding certain substances and behaviors, but the idea that you weren't going to look people in the eye because there was going to be too much dopamine, I mean, I guess it depends on who you're looking in the eye and how much their look positively arouses you, but the fact of the matter is that that's not a very rational way to think about dopamine detox. But staying out of high intensity, highly rewarding activities, I think could be useful in terms of reestablishing that dopamine balance. And everything we know from Anna's work is that dopamine, if you drive those dopaminergic states too long, addictive drugs, et cetera, people can do this with sex, food, drugs, gambling, social media, all sorts of things, pornography. What ends up happening is the amount of dopamine that's released over time goes down and down and down and down and pretty much is traversing into the territory of pain. And then people, again, are back to this thing where, they're scrolling internet porn 8, 9, 10 times or hours a day, and then they're wondering why this isn't effective for them anymore, whereas it was before.
What's happening, people?
Exactly. So what I just took away from the whole video as I'm sitting here listening to the end pieces, our consciousness, which is the part of you that nobody can touch and feel and do, is where your space is at inside of you. That's the master right there. He checking everything, or she checking everything. So look, all right, let's say you eating and you feel like you're eating too much. Your consciousness will kick in and say, hey, put that down. Don't go there because they're going to be cooking this. Don't eat that. Now, the part of you that is not that has the chance, choice, and decision to follow that or not follow that. So you ignore the voice in your head when you hear it. So with that right there, that was my takeaway from listening to the video, is because now I can go inside myself and I can reset some of these behaviors that are running rampant, these programs, so to speak, that are running rampant inside of me that need to be checked. And I can do that with my consciousness by following what it says and delivering on those things, my chemicals inside of me that are reward centers, that are pleasure centers, that are pain centers. All of these things can be reset back to a baseline. Well, a baseline at 30 years old. So let me see. Let's see. What is dope? Let's see.
If you're over the age of 5, I think you know that life moves pretty fast. And if you're still planning your day,
Welcome to 2-Minute Neuroscience, where I explain neuroscience topics in 2 minutes or less. In this installment, I will discuss dopamine.
Yes, sir. That's my man.
Welcome to 2-Minute Neuroscience, where I explain neuroscience topics in 2 minutes or less. In this installment, I will discuss dopamine. Dopamine is a monoamine neurotransmitter, a term that refers to its chemical structure and the fact that it is derived from an amino acid. Dopamine is also a catecholamine, a term that also refers to its chemical structure and the fact that it contains a catechol nucleus. To synthesize dopamine, the amino acid tyrosine is converted to L-dopa. Then L-dopa is decarboxylated to form dopamine. There are several areas of the brain where dopamine neurons are concentrated.
Carboxylated.
Then L-dopa is decarboxylated.
Decarboxylated. It took the carbon, whatever. Yeah, I'm just messing around now. I'm sorry.
To form dopamine. There are several areas of the brain where dopamine neurons are concentrated. The largest are the substantia nigra and the ventral tegmental area in the midbrain. Other areas include the hypothalamus, olfactory bulb, and retina.
What? Your retina makes dopamine? What?
And the ventral tegmental area in the midbrain. Other areas include the hypothalamus, dopamine neurons are concentrated. The largest are the substantia nigra and the ventral tegmental area in the midbrain. Other areas include the hypothalamus, olfactory bulb, and retina.
Olfactory bulb? What? Your scent, your smell give you dopamine, sight give you dopamine, thoughts can give you dopamine. What you feeling on the inside give you dopamine. And dopamine is a monoamine. Hold on. Monoamine neurotransmitter, meaning there's one, and I ain't got that part down, but I'm working it.
From these areas of hypothalamus, olfactory bulb,
that just means, I'm sorry, but let me explain the retina part. That means you just got to look at the right thing and you can be happy. You can get the release of that chemical. Oh, man, that check look good. The check looking good. Cut another check right now. Make me feel better.
There are several major dopamine pathways that carry dopamine from these areas of concentration to other parts of the brain. Some of the largest are the mesostriatal or nigrostriatal pathway, which stretches from the substantia nigra to the striatum, the mesolimbic pathway, which stretches from the ventral tegmental area to the nucleus accumbens and other limbic structures, and the mesocortical pathway, which stretches from the ventral tegmental area throughout the cerebral cortex. Dopamine acts at G-protein coupled receptors, and there are at least 5 subtypes of the dopamine receptor.
Okay.
Dopamine is removed from the synaptic cleft by a transporter protein called the dopamine transporter. Like any neurotransmitter, the functions of dopamine are complex and can't be fully explained with just a short summary. Dopamine is linked to movement due to disorders like Parkinson's disease that involve dopamine deficiencies. It is also often associated with the processing of rewarding experiences. However, dopamine also plays a role in many other functions.
Motivation, nausea, arousal, sleep regulation, attention, lactation, memory, reward. All of those things take dopamine. I wish we had another episode to talk about all of this stuff, but I want to get one more chemical on there. Basically, if you can reset these chemicals, that would trigger a new you. What is serotonin? Sarah. What is? All right, there we go. 1 minute.
Hear a lot
Daniel,
about
you still over there? Or you dozed off? Okay, we'll watch this last 10 minutes.
You hear a lot about serotonin in psychiatry. So just what is that stuff?
Well, it's a molecule that looks something like this, which was discovered in 1935 in an extract from GI enterochromaffin cells and labeled enteramine. In 1948, a substance in the blood serum, called serotonin, increased vascular tone. And in 1952, these are shown to be the same thing. By 1953, it was found in the central nervous system. Its chemical name is 5-hydroxytryptamine. It's a monoamine neurotransmitter. It's synthesized from tryptophan, which is an amino acid common in diet, especially in Turkey, makes you sleepy after Thanksgiving.
Right, okay.
And from there, it's converted in 2 steps, 5-hydroxytryptophan to serotonin. It's metabolized by monoamine oxidase to 5-HIAA. 90% of it's in your gut. Regulates intestinal movement. It also has a role in nausea and vomiting. It's also stored in platelets to join the clotting factor. So why is there a neurotransmitter in the gut? Well, your 30-foot-long tube has its own nervous system, which has the same number of neurons as the spinal cord.
I did not know that.
Now, in the brain, the serotonin pathways start in the brainstem with the Rafe nuclei, where it is synthesized. First, it goes to the nucleus accumbens, the reward circuit, and then throughout the lobes of the brain. It's involved in mood, memory, sleep, and cognition. Key observations: it's increased in socially dominant animals and decreased in subordinates. It's also decreased in depression, anxiety.
Okay, so hold on, wait. In socially dominant animals, they got more serotonin, and it's down in subordinates. Like people, if you cowering and I don't want to explain.
And during the obsessive phase of falling in love. In the synapse, increased in socially dominant animals and decreased in subordinates. It's also decreased in depression, anxiety, and OCD, and during the obsessive phase of falling in love. In the synapse, signal flow imagined from the left to the right. Down the axon comes serotonin into the synaptic cleft. Might hit a receptor, trigger some messages. It might get degraded by monoamine oxidase, or it might get taken back up by the serotonin transporter. So to modify serotonin, you can change the amount of serotonin synthesized or released into the synapse. You can change postsynaptic receptor affinity. You can change the activity of SERT or the activity of MAO.
I don't get them last two. 7 ways to soaring serotonin. Yeah, we're not going to watch anymore. We're just going to do this. So, quotes to reset your life. So I hope y'all got something at least educational wise about the hydration, about exercise and what it does. I know for me, neurogenesis, dopamine and serotonin are going to be the biggest things for me right now, because if I can regulate these, create some neurogenesis and regulate my serotonin and my dopamine, then that means that I can keep my mood and my energy levels pretty high, or where I want them to be at during the day. And that comes through my hydration, it comes through my diet, and it comes through my exercise. So right now, after I get off of here, I'm going to do some push-ups. Dan, remind me to do some push-ups so I can get my blood flowing, so I can get the little serotonin, so I can get my neurogenesis going, and all of that. All right? You said yeah? I said me. All right, so let's listen to this.
There's really just one single wall between you and the life you know you want to live, and that's your mindset. And I'm going to share one with you that kind of changed my life immediately. Trust me, I know how you feel. I know you're sick of it. You're sick of knowing that you have these big goals and dreams, and yet you don't know how you're going to reach them. And it kind of feels like you're just wasting all your potential. So ultimately, you do nothing, because the more you think about it all, the more overwhelming and honestly impossible it all sounds. But what if I told you that it really wasn't that hard, and in reality, you can change your life as soon as tomorrow? In late December of 2023, I decided I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I can't sit here and continue to feel miserable and empty while I wait for my life to change for me. But then I fell into the same old trap as I'm sure you have. I start to overthink and I start to get overwhelmed. I would think about how long it would take and just how much work I would actually have to put in to make a difference in my life. And then I reached my phone to open Instagram for like the 30th time today. But then it dawned on me. I recalled a piece of advice I was given a while back.
By who? I have no idea. It was probably my mom, though. Thanks, Mom.
But the advice goes, just take one step every day.
Exactly.
When you think of your goal or dream, don't look at the entire mountain you're about to climb. Just find where you're going to put your foot next. It doesn't need to be complicated. It's easy to get overwhelmed by your big goals and dreams, but if you just think, just one step today and I'm done, it makes things a whole lot easier.
And if you still need a little bit of extra motivation, just remember that the pain of doing nothing will always be worse than the pain of doing something.
Because sure, taking steps can be uncomfortable and intimidating and scary, but it will always be better than the alternative. The slow, never-ending subconscious discomfort of remaining dormant will always be worse than the temporary and voluntary discomfort of making a change.
Yes, sir.
Maybe some days you'll feel an extra bit of motivation, and you decide to take 3 steps instead of just 1. That's great. And maybe some days you're really just not feeling it, but you just remind yourself, just a small step today. That's fine too. What matters is that you moved forward, even if it was just a little bit.
These steps add up, and before you know it, you'll be able to see the top of that mountain just a little bit clearer than before.
And when I say that this changed my life immediately, I mean it, because while before I wasn't moving forward, now I am.
Yes.
One step at a time, one day at a time.
So, that's our episode of Expansion Pack here today on DGTA TV. I'm going to get with y'all tomorrow. We can do this thing all over again. It'll be Tech Tuesdays then. Get your mind right. I ain't got no topic, but you know I get one. So, as we wind down and we get up out of here, I'm going to say my catchphrase, and then we're going to be up out of here for the damn tomorrow. Hey, but for real, though, play the game with me later if you want to. This is DGTA TV. Y'all, welcome to summer school. We're going to have some fun. We're going to learn, too. Dan, say peace. Say your sign-out phrase. My people, my people. You pop your head up real quick and look over here. You got to be above the chilling. There you go. Oh, there you go. Look at my boy. Hey. All right, y'all. Peace. Wow. And I'll get some leaving music, too. Some music to leave on. Dang, my box is gone. My box has nothing in it. My box has nothing in it. I can't even end right. We'll get it together. Get it together.
Before our natural rhythms want us to wake up affects 70% of the population, according to a study in Current Biology. And difficulty waking up is called sleep inertia. A 2013 study in PLOS ONE describes it as a temporary period of reduced alertness and impaired performance. Scientific symptoms of sleep inertia are poor memory and reaction time, inability to perform basic math, and the suffering of alertness or attention. These symptoms can persist for an hour and usually occur when you wake up during slow-wave sleep. Sleep comes to humans in order across 4 stages. Stage 1 is the transition from wakefulness to a light sleep. During this 5 to 10 minute stage, the electrical signals pulsing through your brain form theta waves. The next 20 minutes is stage 2. The brain's producing rapid bursts of activity called sleep signals, and the heart rate slows and body temperature fluctuates and dips. Stage 3 is slow wave sleep, or delta sleep. This lasts about an hour, and brain activity comes in the form of delta waves. People in this stage aren't responsive when you call their name, and abnormal behaviors like bedwetting or sleepwalking are a part of the end of this stage. That's where you get to stage 4, that's famous REM sleep, when dreams happen, everybody knows about that. When you fall asleep, you go through stage 1 and then to stage 2, then 3, 4, then back to 2, then 3, 4, then back to 2. You'll do this 4 or 5 times in a night of sleep. If your alarm goes off when you're in stage 3, the deepest of sleep, then you'll be jolted awake and you'll get the worst of sleep inertia. This is usually when people describe like they were being hit by a truck when they wake up. The hormones surging through your body that keep you in a deep sleep are still floating around, affecting your now awake body. Sleep inertia is still being studied. It was only named in the late 70s, so say it with me now. More research is needed.
More
but what we
research
do know
is needed.
The best medicine is to get out of bed and turn on the lights and get going, because the retina is directly connected to the out of bed. More research is needed, but what we do know is the best medicine is to get out of the awake body. Sleep inertia is still being studied. It was only named in the late 70s, so say it with me now. More research is needed. But what we do know is the best medicine is to get out of bed and turn on the lights and get going, because the retina is directly connected to the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN. The SCN controls our sleep-wake cycle and the release of melatonin, which is the hormone that triggers the sleeping part of the sleep-wake cycle. Your phone, that doesn't count. You need to actually get up and see some daylight. It's true that at night, the blue light from your phone and your tablet screens mess with your SCN regulation of that sleep-wake cycle, so don't use them before you go to sleep. But a study in PLOS ONE found that increasing that blue light in the morning doesn't increase brain alertness during sleep inertia, so grabbing your phone first thing isn't going to save you. Also, the snooze button is not your friend. If you're jolted from slow wave sleep and allow your brain to drop into sleep again, you're going to start the whole sleep cycle over, causing you to feel even worse. And don't set alarms every half an hour. You're not gradually waking yourself up. You're interrupting and restarting your sleep cycle over and over again. I am guilty of this. So are many of you. It is the worst. Just stop it. Like everything, having a healthy sleep-wake cycle requires effort.
What's good,
like running
Nami?
a race. You have to train to be good at it. Waking up is no different. You can set one alarm, you can make yourself wake up when it goes off, and it's going to be terrible for a while, but it'll get better. Take down the blackout curtains so you get some daylight, and that will help because your retinas will tell your SCN it's wake-up time. If you wake up early on the weekend too, you won't throw off your weekday sleep schedule. A morning routine is the best, and everyone is different. But luckily, wakefulness is actually really easy to train, but only you can do it. I used to be a night owl. I'd be up till 2, 3 in the morning, wake up midday. But having to be up every day for D News has made me a morning person in some ways, and it's completely changed my sleep-wake cycle, and you know what? I kind of love it. Do you want to change your sleep schedule? Go ahead and tell us about it down below. Leave some tips if you got some, and make sure you subscribe for more D News.
Hey, look at the, I don't know if you can see it, Nami, but look at the comment above you. The comment above you is my man's Raph. He say he went to sleep, hold up, he went to sleep at 7 p.m.